morning, and I'm here today to share my thoughts with you. I've been looking across society, a lot's been happening, and I think that it's time for us to talk about some of the things that somehow we've been avoiding for some time. But I think it's something very interesting and important that we discuss at this time. I know that things are pretty tight, things are pretty difficult for a lot of people, and the times are pretty challenging, I must confess. I know what it is. And so the cost of living is soaring high. People everywhere, they're struggling, especially here in the country where we're living in Nigeria. Things are very, very challenging at this time. People are feeling the pinch real hard. It's biting. And I need to say this, the challenges are enormous, from the high prices of food items to skyrocketing cost of fuel prices, and all of that put together, it's very overwhelming. And it's indeed uncertain what the next steps will be, what the future holds. And so we're here this morning to talk about some of these things and see how we can help you navigate and find your voice. And so today I want you to take a step back and let's talk about how we can navigate these challenging times, not just by surviving, but finding solutions to it by standing tall, speaking up, and taking control of our own stories. Okay, that's what I want us to discuss this morning. It may seem impossible as I speak, but I tell you the truth. If we work together at it, we can find the strength to adapt, the strength to innovate, and the strength to build resilience. That's what today's show is about, and I encourage you to just stay tuned. We're going to be discussing these things. We'll be finding solutions together, and I'll be opening the lines. You can send your WhatsApp messages on the WhatsApp line. I'm opening the line early this morning. Just get your phone as you're listening in. Get your phone, please, and take on this message. You can push it across. I want us to have a conversation. I want it to be two ways. I'm working still to get the phone in to work in the studio. We're going to get to the point where you can call into this show. I'm working on that real hard. And as soon as my producers approve, we're going to have a phone line where you can call in and we'll have a real live conversation live on the show. We'll do that. We'll make that happen. I'm putting my producers on the spot with that one now. I've made a public statement and I know they will have to work towards that. We have to find a way around it so you can call in. But in the meanwhile, you can send your WhatsApp message to this number 0706 437 2015. Again, if you're an international outside the shows in Nigeria, you can just add +234 706 437 2015. I want to hear you. I want to read from you. I want us to have a conversation about the subject matter we're discussing today. And the topic, the episode today is going to be looking at finding your voice in challenging times. Finding your voice in challenging times. That's what we're talking about this morning. And it's interesting to know that if we don't start having this conversation, a lot of people are going to just get depressed the more and somehow lose their self-esteem, lose the essence of living, and some might even lose their lives. So today, we want to have that conversation, and I want you to be a part of it. Just before we dive into it, I'd like you to listen again to the signature tune called Anthem of Victory by Zahar Valaha. Together, we will win this war. All right, welcome back once again. We're here hitting the first segment of the show. I want to welcome you again in case you're just joining in. This is Find Your Voice with the Oxygen. And right here, I try the best I can to make life beautiful for people because wherever I go, life flows. That's what the Oxygen does. It gives you life. And that's what I'm doing right here on the show. Every Monday morning, you tune in, you enjoy the best of quality broadcasting from the best radio station that you can find online. It's Grace Impact Radio, the only station that gives you word, music, and entertainment. And that's why we're here doing this thing together. Now listen, guys, we want to talk about acknowledging the struggle. And it's a very important fact that we need to address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room right now is the fact that things are tough. We can't pretend about it. Think about it for a moment. We're going to talk about this. Yeah, let's start by admitting that things are tough. You know, we're born into a society where we're taught to say that all is well. You know, there's this common saying that it is well, it's fine. They ask you how you're doing, say I'm okay, I'm fine. Truth is, you're not fine, man. You know, I hear it's positive vibes. It's about confessing positive. I agree with you, no doubt. But listen, if you want to deal with the challenging times, the first thing is to acknowledge the struggle. I want you to take a moment and validate what you're going through. That's the truth, okay? Whether you're struggling with trying to pay your house rent, or you're trying to pay your rent for your shop or your business place of office, or you're struggling or grappling with the high cost of school fees, the rising school fees, you know, we're still in September, so many parents are still grappling with that, still trying to sort out the fees for their kids, buy textbooks. It's challenging, it's demanding, I must tell you, or you're simply trying to make ends meet. Oh, well, I was taught that ends never meet. Why? Because they are parallel lines, they never meet. But hey, we'll try to make ends meet, as we popularly say. You know, these are real challenges. You can't run away from them. You need to understand that these challenges are real. And it is important, guys, for us not to shy away from this reality. A lot of people shy away from the reality that things are tough. And they tell you, it's okay, we're fine, we're good. No, listen. Too often, society has taught a lot of us to pretend that everything is fine. But I'm telling you the psychology behind it, that if you acknowledge the struggle, then you have taken the first step toward overcoming it. How do you solve a problem you have not acknowledged? How do you deal with an issue you have not agreed to the fact that it exists? Alright, so positive confession is a great idea, affirmation is good, but first you have to identify, you have to acknowledge that there is a problem. You have to agree to the fact that things are tough. And that is when you start to move to the next step. So the first thing is acknowledge the struggle. Agree to the fact that yes, this is where we are right now. Things are tough. We have to find a way around the tough things that we see today. Now, I remember hearing from one of my listeners, you know, who recently shared how overwhelmed she felt about the increases in food prices. She said to me, Oxygen, I said, yeah. Said, I'm doing everything I can, but it feels like the harder I work, the further behind I fall. That statement, I could feel the pain. All right, because I know many of us are going through similar things. In fact, yesterday we ran out of eggs in the house, and I sent my wife and I were having a conversation. Said, "Oh, eggs finished." I said, "Okay, you guys just get by the street corner and get some eggs, so we have dinner with all the things we plan to have for dinner." And then my boy stepped out of the room, went out of the house, got to the shop, and my phone rang, and I said, "Yeah, what's up?" He said, "Listen, Dad, is mommy by your side?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Please put the phone on speaker." So I did. And guess what? He said, "You know what?" I said, "What's it?" He said, "Egg is now 250 naira for one." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I'm at the shop here. They're hearing me. Egg is 250 naira for one egg." Egg is now a luxury par excellence, man. That's how tough things can get. 250 naira for one egg. Now, egg was usually 20 naira. It got to 30 naira. We saw it rise to 50 naira. At 70 naira, people shouted, "What, for one egg?" We saw it rise to $100. An egg was soaring higher. Today, egg is luxury for many families because it's 250 naira for one egg, as at last night that I found out. Amazing. Sometimes you buy these things in bulk and you really don't know. Your wife goes to the market with the little money you provide for her. You don't know how she does the magic. I'm talking to guys and men now, married men, of course. You don't know how she does it. She just comes home, you see something to eat, and you're like, wow, thanks, honey. Thanks, honey. Listen, guys, things are tough. Let's acknowledge it. I don't like pretending. I just tell you the truth, how it is. Things are tough. But you see, me acknowledging it is not my saying that we won't do nothing about it. No, I'm just saying it's the first step. I call it awareness. It means you are aware. And awareness is the first step to change. See, you cannot help yourself until you admit your current position. You can't move forward until you identify your location part-time, where you are at this present moment. That is the only way you can define forward. Forward can only be defined by identifying your current position. So acknowledging the things we go through is the first step towards change. So today, I want you to do something for me and for yourself. Take a deep breath right now. Yes, just take a deep breath. Recognize where you are and give yourself some grace. Listen, you've come this far. You didn't kick the bucket. You didn't die. You're not dead yet. You've come this far. Give yourself some grace. Pat yourself on the back. If your hand can't get to your back, get someone close to pat you on the back. You've tried so hard. You are not alone, man. You're not alone, lady. You're not alone, my friend. And you know what? Acknowledging the challenge is part of the process of finding your voice in difficult times. Just listen. Just understand this, that you are where you are right now, and acknowledge that fact. But I want to say congratulations that you're still here. If you're watching me or listening to me right now, just understand that you have God to thank for it, that you're still sane. The things we face can actually twist the mindset of anyone, but you're still sane. Awesome. Give yourself a pat on the back. I'm going to help you with the pat on the back by playing a very beautiful tune by Andra Day. That song is titled Rise Up. And when we come back from this music break, I'll be taking you on a journey of how you can redefine your resources and utilize the power of creativity and community. That's what I'll be taking you through. But before that, enjoy the song by Andra Day, Rise Up. Wow, that was a beautiful music break there by Andra Day. Rise Up. And if you listen to that song and you get the lyrics of the song, trust me, you will understand the reason why I chose that particular track. It's something very beautiful. The lyrics are so powerful. But I'll take time out to analyze that some of the day. But for today, I want us to just get into the business of the second segment. I did promise you that when I return after the music break, we will be talking about redefining resources, how you can have and utilize the power of creativity and community. That's what we want to look at now. We've agreed and acknowledged the fact that things are tough. And that is the beginning of stepping into another realm of change. So how do we deal with this issue? Now that we've acknowledged the struggle, let's talk about solutions. I'm up for solutions. I'm all about solutions. Everywhere I go, I tell my team of staff, listen guys, when you bring a problem, be sure you have 2 or 3 options to present to the table, on the table. And when you come, I look at your options and then we can get creative and solve the problem. So I'm always up for solutions. And that's why on this show, we tell you what the challenges are, we find a way to resolve them, and we give you workable solutions, practicable, workable solutions that you can utilize and implement in your life. That's what Find Your Voice is about, and that's what we do whenever we come. So right now, listen to this. One of the most empowering things we can do in times of crisis is to redefine our resources. Redefine our resources. Now, the truth is this: when money is tight, there still is so much that we have to offer. So, both individually and collectively, we need to start thinking, we need to start asking ourselves, how do I get by? How do I solve the problem? What do I do? So you need to first redefine your resources. How do you do that? Now, creativity steps into that fold. When you get to the position where you know things are tight, you get creative. Creativity can help you to utilize your resources much more than you would have without being creative. So in a nutshell, let me wrap it by saying that creativity can be your greatest resource when things are tough. When times are tough, creativity can be your greatest resource. Now, think about it. Think about the amazing innovations that have come into the world that people have brought about, all right? So, you need to think about this again. I want you to just put yourself in this picture. For example, I want to give you a practical example. A small business owner might just shift from physical stores to online marketplaces, thereby reducing overhead costs and reaching new customers digitally. That's creativity, right? That's creativity. I hear you, Sanctus. I can read you, Sanctus. Thank you for that comment. All right, you talk about being broken down and tired of living life on merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter in you anymore. Things are really, really, really tough. I understand. And now that's why I want to encourage you to listen, and let's see how we can navigate this muddled water together. Let's see how we can walk around it. Just flow with me. I'm working things out here. So we're talking about trying to be creative. It's said that necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. I just gave an example. You have a big store, things are the way they are, and the prices of food is hiking, cost of rents and all of that. Now, a small business is not able to catch up anymore. Things are tight. That small business could take that money in rather than investing it in the physical shop, you could go online and begin to have spaces on the digital marketplace and invest heavily on ads, right? Take part of the money for rent, put it on ads and get customers. And also, of course, customers will take off the burden of logistics from you because they will place order, you deliver, they pay the rider. You've got your money, you ask them to pay the rider or to pay you for the cost of transportation or logistics to get the products to them. That is one way that you can navigate, difficult times. Or perhaps a family could start growing their own vegetables at home to offset some food expenses. Now, I visited someone last week, and in her compound, I was so amazed. She's got yams, she's got pepper, she's got some things planted in bags. Every available space in her compound, she's got bags. And in those bags are soil, manure, and she just plants yam and all of that. And I said, wow, Ma, this is awesome. How did you think about this? And she said, every available space, go to the back of the house. There ain't space anymore. I've done all of this everywhere, and I harvest these things periodically. I don't buy pepper no more. I don't buy veggies anymore. And my yam will be due very soon. And so there are lots of things I've saved a lot of money on because I plant these things myself. But somebody will ask me, what if you're living in a place where it's a rented space and you don't have the opportunity to, own your own appurtenances, like the space where you can do all of that? Then there's a challenge as well. So you see, we're looking for solutions together now. And it's making sense, isn't it? Because we're working together to find a solution on all of that. So this is what I recommend strongly, that we begin to think and get creative. Okay? But even beyond creativity, community is also a resource. We often overlook community. See, when we come together, we multiply our strength. And this is something I want you to note. When we come together, we multiply our strength. Okay? Now think about how powerful it is to lean on others in times of hardship. Think of how powerful it is to have someone to talk to when things are going tough with you. Think of how powerful it is for you to have a community that shares in your pain when you're going through that difficult time. It makes the burden lighter, doesn't it? It does. It could be as simple as a neighborhood group that pulls resources to buy food in bulk, or family members who come together to carpool and save on fuel costs. A lot of people do it. Your kids are going to school in a particular place. You have a neighbor who's also having their kids in that school. Why should all of you be going to drop your children individually? I don't know. Let me not say the word, but I don't think it makes sense. Why don't you carpool? I have a real life case here. I have parents whose children are in a certain school, right? And the other of the kids are in my school. The ones in secondary, we run a secondary school. They're in our school. And so they came together, made an arrangement with someone. They pulled resources together, and they pay a certain amount to this lady who takes the children to the other school and bring them back every day. They put resources together. They don't need to buy fuel. The lady has a child in that school, so they just add some funds together to support the fueling of her car, and she does the school runs because she has to go to drop them and pick them up every day because she works in this other school where she needs to bring the other children to before they close and go home together. So that is a way of reducing the burden on you. And they've also reduced the cost of fueling on that lady. They've reduced the cost of fueling on themselves as well. And everybody wins. That's community. Very recently, my wife said she needed to buy fish. And I said, wow, you told me that fish is quite expensive. How are we going to do that now? And she said, I've had like a couple of people, we've pooled resources together. We're going to buy a carton of that fish or 2 cartons, and we're going to share amongst ourselves. At the end of the day, the cost per person reduced, but they still got it. And when she did the maths for me, she said, going to the open market to buy this particular fish, it will cost me twice what I've paid to get this quantity. I said, how so? She said, because in the open market, they sell one of this fish for, I think, 3,000 naira, or they're about 4,000, something like that. She said, so buying it in bulk with my friends coming together, and we put resources to buy. When we finish sharing, what I got, if I were to go to the open market to buy it, it would cost me, I think, 2.5 times more what I have paid to get this portion that I got. So these are ways of, beating the system, or do I say beating the tough times, at least helping to reduce the pain, the biting fangs of this hardship. It reduces costs for you, cost of food prices, cost of, fuel, and stuffs like that. So think about it. Think about it. In times like these, the power of community and creativity can transform scarcity into opportunity. I encourage each of you listening today, look around and ask yourself, what resources do I already have that I can use differently? Who in my community can I lean on or offer support to? I'll tell you one more example. Now, for those of you in events management, I give you this for free. I'm doing it right now. I'm hosting an event next month, and the keynote speaker that we will be inviting to speak at that event, we're launching the Unique Youth International. The keynote speaker, if we were to pay him to come be our keynote speaker, we would pay a huge amount of money. So guess what? I'm a professional. I'm a speaker myself. I'm also great at anchoring events, and they're having the opening ceremony of the event. And I said, you know what? I'm going to offer my services pro bono. In an exchange, you come speak at my event. And it was like, wow, that's amazing. I like that thought. How did you come about it? I said, well, in this economy, you've got to offer value for value, man. How much will it cost me to bring you? Even if you're not going to take anything from me because we're friends, I'm going to have to take care of your logistics. I'm going to have to take care of, a couple of things. But I'm exchanging that with something that I can offer. And it's like, yeah, I like that. Because I know you're good. And your value is also immeasurable. It's mighty good. I love that concept. Let's do this. So you see, creativity. Rather than sit down bugging my head, or how am I going to do it? It's the money. I've solved that problem with an exchange of value. So these are some of the ways that you can, redefine your resources using the power of creativity and community. I believe that you're getting value from what I'm teaching right now. I believe you're getting value. So, if you're getting value, then talk to me. You can send your messages on WhatsApp. I'd like to read them. Someone has just sent something and I've responded to it. It's mighty, mighty great. I tell you what, you need to kind of like work on these things. They would help. I've tried some of them and I'm sharing them with you, and I know that they've been of great value to me. They will be of great value to you too. I really want you to listen to that song one more time. It's telling me to play it again. The song is speaking to me to play it again. And then after that, we'll be talking about speaking up and taking control of your narrative. That will be the last segment of the show. Just before that segment, let me give you the privilege again of listening to that song, Rise Up by Andrade. Listen and enjoy. I'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back. That was Rise Up by 100 Day. It's welcome back again. That was Rise Up by 100 Day. It's a beautiful tune. I love it, and it speaks volume to what we're discussing today. And now, running into the final segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen, it is about speaking up and taking control of your narrative. Today, we want to conclude the show. I just want to talk to you about this. Listen, it's the most important lessons in difficult times is to speak up. Speak up. Listen, some people tell me it doesn't matter whether I say something or not, it doesn't count for anything. They will do what they still want to do. We've had that a lot of times, and that's why they still keep doing what they want to do, because we don't speak up. We don't speak up. Listen, your voice is powerful. Your voice is powerful. When you speak up about your needs, about your struggles, about your solutions, you take control of the narrative, right? Too often people feel voiceless in challenging situations, as though they are powerless against the rising tide of difficulties. People just sit back and do nothing. But the truth is, that's not the way to lead your life. In times of crisis, there is power in advocacy. There is power in advocacy. You could just speak up and talk to somebody. I tell you something. I remember once when I was working at a certain company for 6 months, I was underpaid. I really didn't notice until one day I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? I picked up my letter of promotion. I looked at the new raise. I looked at what I was paid 6 months. It's like, hey, things doesn't corroborate what is on paper. What's going on? I reached out to the accounts department. I said, listen, you guys are shortchanging me. What's going on? The guy shut me off. So what do you mean? You think we don't know what we're doing here? But I said, well, we're going to find out real soon. I tried again, and I got someone to do the math for me from within the accounts department. I promised the person I won't let nobody know what it was, who it was. I got all the information I needed. I looked at my pay slips from before the promotion. I put all the details together, did a clear-cut tabulation of everything, and I wrote straight to the boss, the head of administration. I said, this is what I've noticed. I've escalated it. I've sent emails to accounts. They've talked to HR, and nobody seemed to pay attention to what I was saying. I spoke up, and I sent in my hard evidence. And they called me and said, can you approve? I said, look at the papers, look at my letter, look at the raise I got, look at everything. And they said, okay, let's look at it together. They set up a panel to look at it. And yours truly, I was right. And they wrote me an apology, queried the accounts department, head of accounts, and they paid me 6 months in arrears, all that they owed, with some toppings on it. I became a dreaded fellow in the organization. They were like, you gotta be careful with this guy. He can rise, he can speak up. Listen, your voice is powerful. Now that's an individual in a corporate setting. What about every one of us in the nation state called Nigeria? You can speak up. Right? Yeah, somebody said, oh, but we tried it. We went out, protested, and nothing came out of it. Instead, prices of fuel was increased. You know what? If you think that because you spoke once, nothing came out of it, so you remain silent, that means you're ready to be impoverished. That's the truth. You've got to find your voice. You've got to start learning how to negotiate life. You've got to start finding means of working through things. Listen, I have learned to negotiate in my life better deals. I put the odds on the table. I do a worst case scenario. I go out and I negotiate deals. You've got to learn to negotiate. And what you need to negotiate is your voice. That's why you've got to find your voice. You've got to raise your concerns to the local authorities. You've got to talk to your leaders. You've got to reach out to your leaders. I've been privileged to talk to politicians who I do business with. I coach some of them. And I tell them, listen, what you're doing is not in place. Take a cue from this. I give them practical example while I'm coaching. I tell them stuff that they never thought about. And they're like, what? I didn't realize that. I said, now you do. So you've got to think about the laws and the policies you're pushing to government. Think about it. You can do something better. My voice of advocacy have changed some things in some quarters. So why can't yours change things? Talk to your local leaders. Talk to your church leaders. Talk to people of influence. Your voice is a powerful tool. Yes, speaking up and taking control of your narrative is something you've got to do. Join forces with others. Join forces with others who have been able to come up with straight up demands that make sense and are asking for change. Join your voice. Lend your voice. Speak about it. Respectfully though, but speak up. When you raise your voice, you not only stand for yourself, you're not standing up for yourself alone, but you also become a beacon of hope for others and that are going through same challenges. I watched a video on social media where a lecturer was teaching about justice, and he walked into the room and he told the young lady who did nothing, absolutely to him, nothing. He walked her out of the class. I'm sure some of you may have seen that video. Walked the lady out of the class. And nobody said anything. And the lady was like, what have I done? He said, I'm not going to repeat myself. Get out of my class. The lady walked out. And he said to the class, was I unfair to the lady? And they said, yes, sir, you were. So what do you think? Why are there laws? And some of them answered until one chap said, justice. Laws are there for justice. And he said, I walked your classmate out for no just cause. She did nothing. And all of you sat by and said nothing. None of you challenged me because it didn't affect you. And he added, when you keep quiet over issues because they don't affect you directly today, you are giving room for injustice to thrive. And sooner or later, it will get to your doorstep. Those words hit me hard. And I sat down and I said, yes, how true these words can be. When we see things we ought to speak up about and we refuse to speak up, we are encouraging those things to thrive, and sooner or later we will become the victims ourselves. So you need to speak up. You need to encourage those who are going through stuff by saying the things you know would help and improving the system yourself. Because listen, let's also remember that speaking isn't just about advocating for ourselves. It's also about being honest with those around us. If you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out and share your story. You will find that you're not alone and that your vulnerability might give someone else the courage to open up and talk about their struggles too. So by speaking up, we take control of our circumstances. We say, yes, things are hard, but this is not the end of my story. We transform challenges into opportunities for growth, challenges into opportunities for change. We transform challenges into opportunities for empowerment. That's what we do when we speak up. I believe that something has given way in your heart for you to speak up, to find your voice in the midst of challenging times. And I want to wrap up by saying thank you guys for tuning in to Find Your Voice with the Oxygen this morning. And I hope that today's episode has given you not only the space to acknowledge the struggles you're feeling, but also the tools to tap into your creativity, into community, and the power of your voice to navigate tough times. But remember, we may not have control over the rising cost of living, but we do have control over how we respond to it. And together, we will rise stronger. Make sure that you tune into this same station and this same channel next week Monday at 10 a.m. Same time, same place on Grace Impact Radio via MixLR at graceimpactradio.mixlr.com. You can also follow me on Facebook. On Facebook, my Facebook is Emmanuel Dogba, Emmanuel David Dogba. Just search the name Emmanuel David Dogba and you'll find me there. Until then, stay resilient, stay creative, and most importantly, keep finding your voice. I am the Oxygen, and I'm signing out. And I want to say to you, ciao, ciao. See you next Monday. Enjoy.